Hey, what's going on? It's Sean. It's been a little while since I put together a video. I've been super busy with paid projects as well as personal projects, but I thought I would put together a video today after watching Matt Day's recent series on personal projects and explain some of my personal project, and maybe you guys can get something of value from that. In this video, I'm going to dive into some of the things that I found very helpful in expanding my personal project, finding new directions, and ultimately just creating a body of work that I'm excited by. So over the years, I've had a number of different personal projects, and moving to New York really inspired me to start a new personal project on skateboarding. I grew up in the 90s and absolutely loved skateboarding, but over the years I lost track of it. But moving here and seeing some of these iconic skate spots and actually seeing some iconic skateboarders has really sparked this interest to tell a new story in skateboarding from my own perspective. There are several things that have really inspired me when it comes to creating this project and keeping me on track over the months that I've been working on it, which has now been a full year. One of those things has been photo books, which have been incredibly valuable to try to find new angles and new ways to tell the story. Instead of exploring skateboarding through a ultra wide angle lens or a fisheye lens with hard flash, I've been trying to find a way to tell a story that matches my own personality and my own way of photographing the sport. One of the first books that I discovered along the way was 93 Till by Pete Thompson. This was an excellent book. It's pretty thick, decently thick. It offers quite a few different photographs within it, and I think this was like the main driving force for a lot of the photographs that I've been creating. There's something about this like black and white image, the grittiness to it, the high contrast. I think I just fell absolutely in love with it, and you can really tell, you know, this is of a different time. This is in the 90s, so they're shooting a lot of black and white film. But I love some of these like behind the scenes pictures. We can see some of the action. But these photos here are really exactly what I was trying to create. I even went out with a flash on a couple occasions, was trying to create some images that kind of mimic the style. You can tell that like this is with a much wider lens than what I've been using, but I think like this was a huge driving force for what I'm trying to create. So I definitely highly recommend checking out this book. It was absolutely fantastic, worth every last penny I spent on it. The second book I picked up was 548 Days, which I actually found to be really interesting. I absolutely loved this book. It's by Dilla Charles. It's really interesting. It covers these different cities, and I kind of loved like everything about this, just like even the way that it's put together. So this book was also another one that really inspired me to kind of include these locations as well as the actual skateboarding itself. So as you can see, she did like these wider pictures here where we kind of get an idea, and then she like zooms in and we really see how skateboarding has impacted this landscape. And seeing skateboard photography presented in this way was really inspiring to me. And then again, it's in black and white, which I absolutely love. So this really kind of inspired me to go out and try to find some of these locations within New York skateboarding that I could use to kind of tell the story of skateboarding itself over the years. So if you've not had a chance, I would definitely check out this book as well as Della Charles herself. Her Instagram is phenomenal and you will not regret it. And then one of the recent pickups that I got was something that my friend mentioned to me, and that's California Concrete by Miyazaki. This one was fantastic for kind of like building off of Della Charles' book with the landscapes and really trying to find a different way to talk about skateboarding. I thought this was absolutely incredible just to see kind of how the light itself is playing off these landscapes. And photographing the landscapes themselves as a part of skateboard culture, skateboard history. So this one really helped me to push what I was doing in photography and really explore skateboarding in a new way, trying to find these locations and photographing how meaningful they are to skateboarding. So this is also a very excellent book. Highly recommend it if you get a chance to check it out. Beyond that, I've also been watching a lot of skate videos to figure out how other skate photographers as well as videographers are creating angles to create interest and find different ways to tell those stories. I've been exploring Instagram more, both on skateboarders' own profiles as well as other skate photographers to see how they're doing things. Again, another resource that I found very helpful is using Instagram to find local events that are going on as well as local skaters. So here you can see the New York Skate Coalition. Been using a lot of the stuff. They post these Instagram posts talking about what's coming up. So this coming weekend is the New York City Pool Series for 2022. It's happening at Pier 62 Skate Park. So I'm actually going to go and do some photos there, potentially with the wide angle lens, but also with my 28. And then I'm using different websites, including Quarter Snacks, and apps like Maps to try to build out a list of places to go, to visit, and find those interesting perspectives on places that are important to skateboarding. So one of the things that have really helped me stay on top of the locations that I'm trying to get is Quarter Snacks, which is an interesting website here in New York. So you can go to the spots location and it brings up this like big map of locations within New York. It includes skate parks as well as other things that the community has noticed, as well as interesting spots that have been in skate videos. So you can see here, Veterans Plaza, Pyramid Ledges. So if you click on the link here, it'll bring you into an actual section. So it shows you like, here's a still from a video that was shot. Tells you whether or not you were anticipated to get busted at the spot, a map so you can figure out where you're going, as well as some photos of the actual space itself so you can kind of get an idea of what it looks like. I've been using this a lot to try to plan out where I'm going to go to photograph different spots and just get an idea for the angles that may or may not work. It's also great to look at the map and then plan that against what the sun is doing that day, whether or not it's going to be overcast or sunny, and planning out the right time to go to the spot. And finally, I've been spending more and more time getting to know different skate shops and local skateboarders to try to get an intimate view of skateboarding today. When I started the project, a lot of the photos that I was creating were just with whatever camera I had in my hand. So whether or not I had my Panasonic S5 or my Leica M240, or even just a random point and shoot film camera, those are the things that I was just using. Over the last couple months, things have kind of shifted, and I found a lot of joy in photographing everything with my Leica M246 monochrome, and I've actually shifted from using a 35mm to a 28mm, something I never thought I would really enjoy. So when I really started doing skateboard photography, I was initially using the 35mm f2 Zeiss lens to photograph most of the things. I thought the 35 offered a wide perspective, but it was also tight enough that I could get away with doing some portraits here and there, which it absolutely is, and I love this focal length. And then to mix it up, I was also using this here, which is a 90mm 2.8 conical lens, which actually works really well. I've been using this a lot when I'm trying to get a little further distance from the skater, or really get some like separation between the skater and the background. But the lens that I've really kind of stuck with as of late is the 28mm f2 Voigtlander. This is the older model, so it's definitely not like the perfect lens. I found that when you're all the way opened up at f2, you're getting some vignetting, but for me personally, I absolutely love that. I love the character of the lens. And this thing's honestly been pretty much glued to my camera since I bought it about a month ago. So as I'm coming around to a full year working on this project, I'm starting to look at where does it go from here. Of course, I'm going to continue photographing and building a bigger body of work, but one of the things that I wanted to explore is, do I make prints, and do I make a final book that will contain the photographs that I'm working on? And the answer to both of those has so far been yes. I've been doing a ton of printing, and I'll show you some of the prints that I've been making lately. And with that, I've been using this here, which is the Moab Photomat paper 235. I've been using the 8.5 by 11. It's double-sided, which doesn't really make much of a difference for me, but I suppose if I was building a portfolio and I wanted two sides, it would be great. I've actually found this paper to work really well. It gives some beautiful, beautiful dynamic range, which I absolutely love. And I've just been using it on my Canon printer. When it comes to the prints themselves, you can see here I actually did a test print. This is a black and white photo that I had shot a couple of days ago. And I actually tried to print it on newsprint, which I really liked, like the grunginess of it, but I have to dial in how I'm actually printing it, because I think just how newsprint works, it became a little bit more muddied. But I still love it. I think it's really great. And then these are some of the prints from FDR. Some of the prints from Lower East Side. And I love how, you know, putting these things on paper and really getting a chance to feel them out really kind of elevated all of the photos for me. And I thought it would be great to put these in prints and really kind of look at them a little more closely on the wall. Ultimately, exploring skateboarding through this personal project has given me a new respect for this sport. I was already in love with it, but now seeing how these other skaters are getting involved in their communities, how they're building their own communities, and how they use the sport to pick themselves up and drive on to the next hard thing in their life has been super inspiring, and it's really made me excited about this project. If you'd like to see more from this project or some of the other photographs that I'm creating around New York, including some of the street photography, you can check me out on Glass, Instagram, and Twitter at Sean P. Bruce. You can also sign up for a newsletter on my website, seanpbruce.com, and I look forward to seeing you guys in the next one.